office siren aesthetic. I'm sure by now we have all seen that girl lost her $200,000 a year internship over her office siren inspired outfit.
So glad that the office siren look is finally getting called out because it is so unrealistic.
So I just moved to LA from Ohio, and by now I've met a lot of the influencers that live here, and some are great and really fun to be around. Others are more like the worst people I've ever met in my entire life.
If you really think that they're driving G-Wagons and Mercedes, pimped out Escalades, and they're wearing Walmart clothes consistently, they might have a couple pieces they keep and like. I hate to break it to you, but they're not. They put them on for the haul, for the video, for the content, and then they have their assistant do the returning.
So, some of y'all really just need a hobby. The insanity of the internet is going way too far, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the fact that no one seems to have a personality, both in real life and on the internet. And everyone is actively having an identity crisis.
And I also seem to be having a crisis, because why couldn't y'all tell me that there was a piece of hair chilling beside my mouth looking like a spider leg or something like that? I mean, y'all, none of y'all can tell me that? Really? Like, all my friends are fake, bro. Also, don't mind the sunglasses that are currently suffocating me. One of the legs fell off and I couldn't find it, didn't know how to fix it, and now it just keeps sliding down my nose. Now you got me looking like Michael Jackson. So if it seems like I can't breathe, it's because I can't.
In a video I made a while ago talking about the absurd amount of aesthetics that we have, I talked about why this could be and pointed to the concept of individualism, or basically putting a major focus on individual expression. So you have all these different aesthetics that represent all these different things. When certain people try to fit themselves into these aesthetics, they realize that they don't fully represent them, or every aspect of the aesthetic does not fit them perfectly. So what they do is take the aesthetic, but break it off into different branches that come from the same aesthetic tree. So I gave examples like the soft girl and vanilla girl aesthetic, the mushroom core and goblin core aesthetic, and other examples that I used in that video to showcase how similar all these aesthetics are. Fundamentally, when you get down to it, of course they have their little differences, but ultimately when you search them up on Pinterest and you look at them both, they look pretty similar. The paradox of this though is that the more that you try to individualize yourself from a certain aesthetic, the more you end up becoming just like everyone else who also likes that aesthetic. At the end of the day, they all end up becoming eerily similar as a result, and you really don't end up becoming as unique and special as you once thought you were. Can you guys like go mate somewhere else, please? Not in front of my chicken, thank you very much. People keep relying on the things that they own or the way that they present themselves as a way to form and morph your personality, when it's kind of supposed to be the other way around. You have your personality, and the way that you dress, the things that you buy, showcases that personality. You can't obtain a true personality based off of an aesthetic. But a lot of people confuse this concept, and they end up showcasing it on the internet. Now the thing is, there's nothing wrong with having a very specific personality on the internet. That's just how you create your brand. Something that people will know that it's you when they see a certain thing or hear a certain catchphrase, or even something with your appearance. Corpse Husband is very well known for his very deep voice. The minute you hear it, you know it's him. Matt Pat, when he was still hosting all of the, theory episodes, had the catchphrase, "But that's just a theory, a game theory." Everybody knew that that's where that came from. Even specific hair colors, people will see it and think of a certain person. I remember Call Me Chris saying that it was getting difficult to hide herself in public and people were recognizing her all over the place because of her hair color, despite her wearing a mask. Creating a different and specific version of yourself on the internet is completely normal to content creation. I do it too. And when I first started YouTube, just like any scared, sorry sucker who didn't know where to start or what to do and went running to YouTube for answers, I would search up things like how to start a successful YouTube channel, how to make your presence known on the internet, things to know before you start your YouTube channel. And one of the tips that were always on that list was to be yourself. Just be yourself. Don't try too hard. I always found that advice to be very useless and frankly very cheesy. Because what the heck does that actually even mean? It wasn't until I stopped procrastinating and just actually started making videos that I finally ended up understanding what a lot of them meant. And it's not necessarily bad advice, but I do think it needs further explaining. The phrase "be yourself" in this context means that you just need to act like your own self while you're filming. Let your personality shine through while you're recording and just be your natural self. Okay, sounds great. But the thing they don't tell you, or at least that they don't specify, is that you kind of mold and create different personalities based on the context of the situation, and then you act accordingly as a result. And no, I'm not talking about multiple personality disorder. That's a completely different thing, so y'all need to stop pretending that you have it. Everybody suddenly doesn't have multiple personality disorders, okay? All you teenagers who think mental disorders are quirky and cool, get over it. That's not what I'm talking about. What you would normally refer to them as are personas, different ways of presenting yourself to other people and the world that differ from your default personality. For example, the way that you act with your friends is going to be different than, say, how you act around your parents. And you act differently with strangers than how you act with your friends. You might be more playful and aggressive around your friends, make a few edgy jokes, versus a stranger you don't know and are not completely comfortable around. You may be a bit more reserved or quiet and formally polite. The same rules apply to the internet. The way that you act and present yourself on the internet is going to be different than how you do it in real life. Your demeanor and presence will change based on the atmosphere. If you're an aesthetic daily vlogger, your videos might be calming and slow paced. You might lower the tone of your voice like you're telling a story. Even though your personality may be different, you're very loud and exciting. Or you may be a loud animated gamer who plays horror games. So you up the ante, becoming more animated and explosive, reacting dramatically to certain things to stimulate viewers and keep them engaged. Even though your personality in real life may be the complete opposite. You might be very quiet and reserved. So as you make videos, you get comfortable with the different personas that you create for yourself. And you create these based on the type of content that you make, how your audience reacts to these personas, how they perceive you, how they reciprocate that energy, and how it builds and adds to your brand. This is supposed to be the yourself that YouTubers will tell new creators when it comes to making a new channel. So again, good advice once you actually understand the core of it. But the problem lies in that if you're trying to embody this character that you created for the internet and claim that that is who you are, that's when you get misled. People who watch these creators are trying to embody what they see as their true personalities, their real life personalities, which is not how this works. Who you are as a person is formed off of your real life experiences, your opinions created from those experiences, your personal likes and dislikes, the people that you meet, the connections that you make, the values that you hold based off of religious practices or cultural norms or traditions. That is how you form a personality. But now, you don't have to do any of those things in order to develop personality because you have a bunch of labels you can use to replace them. Going back to aesthetics, as long as you say you're a coquette girl or a coconut girl, everybody's supposed to automatically get an image in their head of what type of girl you are. Because when you say you're that aesthetic, that means you fit into this one category and that you like specific things. Oh, you're a coquette girl? Okay, well that means you must like soft pinks and bows and frilly dresses. Oh wait, but you also like the color blue? Well then no, your personality isn't coquette anymore. Or at least now you have to create an entire new branch of coquette called blue coquette core or something like that. There was another video that I was watching not too long ago of a girl talking about something similar to what I'm talking about now. And she showed a TikTok of this girl who was sharing her experience with becoming so obsessed with aesthetics and things like that. Talking about how she restricted herself so much into the aesthetic of man-eater that she suppressed her genuine feelings that she had for men in order to fit into that aesthetic.
As a more personal example of this, I used to identify so heavily with the TikTok term of man-eater that I found myself actually suppressing genuine feelings towards men because it didn't suit my character. Suddenly, if a real thought, belief, or emotion existed that didn't really match with my skewed self-perception, I suppressed it because I wasn't comfortable with it.
If you don't know what the man-eater aesthetic is, it's okay, I didn't either. But after a quick Google search, I realized it's the same aesthetic that fuels that dark psychology, dark femme, manipulate people nonsense. The, oh, make sure he chases you. Oh, make sure you don't respond to his text so that he'll want you. Make sure you manipulate him so he can buy you whatever you want. Yeah, that nonsense. That's basically what fuels that whole man-eater aesthetic. These women call themselves dark femme coaches or whatever. Basically, they're the equivalent to like alpha male coaches for men, in which I talked about this in a previous video, criticizing these coaches and, you know, telling women to do all this stupid stuff because frankly, it's just very toxic and very bad. But anyways, forcefully changing certain aspects of yourself that aren't beneficial to you just to fit a certain type of aesthetic. Can you really call that a personality? If it's controlling you and not the other way around, is that really who you are? It reminded me of some girls who said they weren't able to be coquette because they bite their nails. Or that trend of girls saying that they can't be an aesthetic because they don't 100% fit into that aesthetic. It's not a personality if you are actively changing things that you wouldn't change otherwise just to say that this is your personality. It's like saying you're dark academia and going out of your way to buy a button-up shirt and a little pleated skirt, buying a book you will know you'll never read, and pretending to like to study just to fit the aesthetic. Or if it's not with aesthetics, people will try to use certain parts of their identity to replace their personalities. Listen to me, okay? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Actually, I'm not because I'm thirsty and I need a drink. Being black is not a personality trait. Being gay is not a personality trait. Being a woman is not a personality trait. Being fat is not a personality trait. These are all physical, genetic characteristics of yourself. It is not who you are. And of course, I'm not trying to say that this doesn't matter at all, because other people will say that it doesn't. I'm not going that far. You cannot deny the fact that a lot of these are very linked and intertwined with how the world perceives you and treats you, and even how you see yourself. So of course, these are all still very important. But what I'm saying is that it is only an aspect of yourself. Don't get me wrong, I love me a good stereotypical or racist joke, okay? As long as it's good, and one I haven't heard like a million times before. People be running the same jokes. It's like, come on, you gotta come up with something better. The I'm black so I eat fried chicken joke or something like that. Like, sure, I can get behind it, again, if it's good. I mean, hey, I am eating... No! I am eating fried chicken that I just dropped all over myself. Dang it. I can get behind those type of jokes. Like I said, it's fine. But sometimes when people use it as their only outlet to talk about themselves, like if you ask somebody, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself, and like their first thing is like, well, I'm black, and it's like, yep, I think I figured that out. When they use it as the only thing that they can actually have a conversation about, it truly makes me wonder, is that all you really have going for yourself? Like, do you have absolutely nothing else going on for you? Or you don't have any hobbies, any things you like to do, no sports, no arts and crafts, no drugs you like to do? I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it really does boil down to those dang phones. I mean, we can all get mad at the boomers, but they were right. Like I said in the beginning of this, some of y'all really just need a hobby. Find things that bring you genuine joy, and not because it's the newest trend so you suddenly like it. And then don't aestheticize the hobby. Just do the thing. Everything doesn't have to be super aesthetic, and the hobby that you're doing, once again, is not going to constitute for your entire personality. I'm a tennis girly now. Oh my gosh, I love tennis. Oh my gosh, tennis is my life. No, it isn't, Jennifer. You're not a tennis girly. You watched Challengers once, bought a very expensive racket and tennis outfit, went to the courts to see if you can find some random hot guy to sleep with, got disappointed because everyone there is, you know, playing tennis like they're supposed to be, and no one is fulfilling your romantic aesthetic fantasies, give up after a couple of tries, and then take some aesthetic cute pictures for the Instagram with some motivational quote of never give up, even though you literally don't follow it yourself. You go home and then you never touch the racket ever again. You are not a tennis girly. I'm a clean girl now. Oh my gosh, I went to a Pilates class. No, Patricia, you are not a clean girl. You went to a Pilates class once, drank a green smoothie for the very first time, posted about it on Instagram, and once again, probably never went to another Pilates class or drank another green smoothie. You're just doing the thing. It's just one thing that you like to do. It doesn't have to be your whole entire personality, because it's not. Y'all be watching these influencers and YouTubers thinking that when they post these vlogs or daily photos, that completely describes who they are as a person. It does not. The clean girl influencer on TikTok that you watch doesn't actually consist of doing yoga every single day, dressing in loafers and a sweater wherever they go, eating only salads and green juice smoothies for every single day of their life. The rich office siren girl boss girl or the alpha male millionaires don't wear suits 24/7 in their houses and get pedicures and manicures every day and walk around their houses with Gucci and Prada. Most of these people aren't even actually rich. They're cosplaying being rich, all while getting rich off of all of you who are falling for their rage bait as per usual because y'all never learn. The trad wives aren't putting on full faces of makeup and dressing in 70s dresses and making cereal from scratch for their kids every day of their life. These people are displaying personas, internet personalities. It is not who they are as a person, and it shouldn't determine who you are as well. No one can tell you how to do that. You aren't being yourself if you only ever want to act like, look like, and dress like whatever is the newest trend on the internet, whichever aesthetic and style and hobbies are trending that month. Sure, you can change certain parts of your personality, preferences, opinions, and different things like that. You're always changing as a person. That's not a bad thing. But was it ever really your preference in the first place if you were told by the internet to like it or to dislike it or what to think about it? Y'all are having an identity crisis because y'all are letting everybody else on the internet tell you what you need to be. Getting inspiration is one thing, but conforming your entire life to these personalities is a completely other thing. It's unnecessary, it's counterintuitive, and frankly, it's exhausting. Y'all need to find a hobby, go touch some grass, go find some things to do, and build a personality. Then you won't feel like you need to absorb everything on the internet in order to create an identity for yourself. Just always keep that in mind as you are surfing the internet, using social media, and constantly being told what to think and who to be. Even for me. So, that's all for today. Thank you all very much for watching. My voice is back, thankfully, so I will try to, get consistent with my once a week like I was doing. But that is all for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.